Hello, Allison.
Good afternoon now, right?
Afternoon. Who knows what
Yes,
time it is, right?
right. Who knows?
It's always, there's no time when you're in the 5D.
Right, exactly. It's all just
Yes, but let's see. So today we're here at podcast episode number 4 that we're doing, and with Allison Skinner, and she is my co-host for the Quantum Living podcast. And we're so excited for each of you that have decided to tune in to some higher frequency talk today. We have so much stuff to talk about. In fact, we've already been talking for probably an hour, maybe. I don't know.
Mhm.
And we're finally like, okay, we got to record this. This is good.
Right.
So, what we're kind of talking about today is thinking about the time that we're in and thinking about that we are fully in this new era. We're at the beginning of it.
An age, right? Is what
Yeah,
they keep saying.
we're
Hmm.
in this new age. Oh, look at my cat Neo got stuck in
I
here.
see you.
So, we are in this new age now, fully grounded in this new age. Well, he's going to insist on going out. So, Allison's going to continue.
Right.
Real
Yes.
quick.
So yeah, we are in that new timeline, and we're talking about how we're creating that and seeing that and making that a reality for all of us,
Yes.
through our choices.
So we're thinking about, so what I've really been thinking about is, okay, so since 2014 is when I really clicked in to this knowledge of making all decisions from the heart space. So no longer from my mind, no longer from the linear thinking of what people were doing around me, what people thought was appropriate, or what I should do, blah, 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 blah. It was like, okay, I need to figure this out. And how do you figure this out? And so I learned they called it the intuition, your sixth sense, that's what you do. And this was 10 years ago when I did not know how I know everything now about how it works. Don't know
Mhm.
everything, but so going from the heart space, and then for the last 10 years, and then as I've awoken, like in the last, let's say 5, 6 years, or even let's do a concentrated time
Mhm.
of the last 3 years. Or you could say since COVID was 2020, when
Right.
the whole entire world, all of humanity, was put through the most horrific experience of their lives. And every
Right.
single person was put through, every single person has had, their lives are totally
Yeah,
different than they were 4 years ago.
completely. Yeah,
Every
exactly.
single thing is different. 3 years ago, I got on TikTok and told everybody, I'm like, in 3 years,
Hmm.
nothing in your life will be the same. And if it is
And
still hanging out, you're going to have upheaval and drama until you clear it,
right.
because this light is coming in and it's basically shining a light on all of the darkness and densities that was in our field, that was put on our field from the time of Adam and Eve and being forced to leave the garden. So that's
Right.
what everything that I do, that's what my logo or the picture for the podcast, it's your heart space and your Garden of Eden blooming out. That's what's
Right.
happening. That has never left. The Garden of Eden has been there, but it's been covered with weeds and covered and choked and everything else. And we have been going back and forth the last 3 years of feeling like, for me, I'm like one foot in the 3D, another foot in this
Mhm.
5D, trying
Right.
to always kind of solidify the 5D, thinking that there was something that's going to happen,
Right.
right?
Like for
Yeah,
something
like
tangible.
were we
Right.
waiting for something? Wasn't there this feeling that we were
A
waiting?
while. Hmm. It's
Yeah,
almost like you're almost like when you're waiting for when you're pregnant, like waiting for a delivery, like you're waiting for, like, you know what I mean? And everything when you're pregnant, you're focused on it. And it's almost like realizing it's not going to be like a process like that. I
it's
think
a
it's,
process of going from, as I'm starting to say it more and more, and people are latching onto it, um, going from being a consumer to a
yes, this
creator.
is huge. Yes. And it's like I'm being sovereign over that heart space of that, and taking and extracting is the best way. It's almost like you've seen that in like movies before. And that's why I think sometimes there is a lot of stuff that's put out. We always say like media, some of it's bad, but there are some visuals I think that have been good. And I remember like sometimes like even like extracting some of that, it's taking that overlay of consumerism, of who has the most toys wins, right? That whole thing that we've been sold, that's going
Keeping
to
up
make
with the
us,
Joneses
yeah.
kind of
And the
thought
Joneses are miserable.
process.
How's that?
What?
most of them, and said most of the Joneses are miserable, and who wants to hang out with them anyway? That's always what I thought, and uh, realizing that that's, not, like you've talked about, you've been in that for such a long period. And for myself, and I'm sure probably people listening too, it's not been something that I even was aware of. I mean, I kind of been in and out of that a little bit, but being aware of that programming of being in the matrix is the best way to put it for me, is just, of collecting things, of realizing, that having the best things or wanting the new this or that, or wanting or making my job my identity, that's been a huge part. That's been, and then for a while, I think I had to go through like a mourning process, which we talk about being sick, or going in and out of that. And I think that was like a purging, and I'm still kind of going through in and out of that. I can't say I've arrived, and will we ever on, right now on this, but I'm creating it through this. And that's what I think the power in this, in us bringing our energies together, showing how we can transform every day from making these choices and choosing that, and that's something that has been so powerful, is that, even, it's like I don't think your dips, go, but sometimes I go those dips, and then I know I've got it, I have the power to come out of that. And that's something that I think we can share with, whoever listens or happens to come upon this, whenever they do, you have the
Oh yeah,
power,
this is
you know,
definitely. So this
you
is
know.
something that we'll all start realizing more and more. I am now solid, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't waver nothing
Mm-hmm.
now. Where I'm like, I am creating my reality. If there is something in my field that I don't like, then that means it's
Mm-hmm.
in me somewhere, and I created this somewhere. People don't,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that people do not, that they don't want to deal with that. They want to say, like in my coaching, I talk to clients, and it's like, and I won't continue to coach clients that do this. Like, I'm one of the people, because I don't do it for money. I'm doing it to get you moving you on so you know what to do. But people who just want to sit here and say, like, they'll say all the issues that are going on, right? Like, whatever it is.
And you're
And then I'll say,
reaffirming it,
yeah, and then
right?
I'll say,
Yeah.
oh, well, you need to do that, what about this? What about this? Oh, well, that's because of this. Well, that's because of my mom. That's because of my husband. My
Ex-husband,
husband won't let
job,
me.
or, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, since I had the training of almost 20 years of living in the matrix, like being in a marriage that was very matrix, right? That was
Mm-hmm.
like very 3D. But I still had the thing, and that's why I was married for so long, that this person isn't, I inherently knew that this person wasn't, it wasn't them, the stuff that they were doing. Uh, and that caused these things. It was just for me to go through it so I could see it. But people don't want to take full accountability for their life or situation. And that's where we're coming to. The split is here now. We're done. Everybody now, right now, and listening to this podcast, You're going to sit here and you're going to decide. You can continue to decide this, but all of us that have decided it, we're moving on. What do you want to be on the organic timeline and be your authentic, true self? Or do you want to continue? And it's fine if you do. That's the other thing. It's
Right.
fine if you do, because we're just going back to the divine timeline.
Mm-hmm.
It's the divine timeline that uses universal law and doesn't have a legal system put over it. And this is the thing that people didn't realize too. They had the legal system, the attorneys, all that stuff. And then there was the law. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole reason why they're wearing black robes and like this whole thing. The law has always still been here.
Mm-hmm.
Timeline, this higher timeline, the angelic timeline, the divine timeline, has always been here. It's just that our gardens have gotten full of weeds
Mm-hmm.
and covered. And go back and look at the artwork for the podcast, because it will give you a visual. And I'm going to I'm putting out that artwork, and that's I created that, through AI program, but it's my heart to express this. And it is what it feels like. And you're seeing these beautiful, and the herbs, and this is like what Allison and I connect on. We connect on a metaphysical level, because we don't, I don't know. There's just certain things we don't need to talk about. We are talking
Right.
about it. We're talking about it like telepathically and spiritually. And it's this overwhelming thing with these plants and these herbs. And that how, and like, I don't know what it is. It's a whole thing, because the frequency of these plants and their healing properties and all that they do, that whole thing was stolen from the 3D matrix and made into a synthetic version of that.
Right.
And what we're doing, and what I have done for personally, I have removed all the synthetic versions. I've removed
Mm-hmm.
fake lavender lotions and the thing, and I've gotten
Right.
into, and that's speaking as an esthetician, okay, because I love all of the, I just love all the stuff, and like Allison's talking about, like that materialism. They turned all the beauty of the organic timeline and made it into something, made it into a commodity and then they enslaved us with, in order to get God's creation that we distorted. But if you want
Mm-hmm.
to if you want to smell like lavender, we created this lavender lotion you're wrapping yourself in plastic, and you can pay $29.99 for the pleasure of using it. Woo! Yeah, let me do it. And let me
Micro
get up every morning and get a job pushing the stuff on everybody.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
the thing that's been the hugest like awakening to me, is like how much that we, and one thing that I think we can applaud for shifting all of that was seeing when everything kind of shut down for a little bit, and how much,
that
it
helped
was
all of
shifting.
us.
It really woke up, especially the younger generation. I applaud some of them for their refusal to
Yes.
perpetuate that consumerism. So it's been something I think that's probably woke up more of our generation too. I tell them, I'm like, I'm embracing my inner millennial or my inner Gen Zer right now. I am not giving my soul to my job. Do you know what I mean? Or my soul to Amazon, my soul to the mall. It's been, that's been so, and then seeing and the beauty of like even like, I know when I first started watching your stuff, of your content, of seeing like your garden that you'd created and just the animals and all that frequency, I think is something. And like now that's something that we are, as we become more awake to who we really are, that's the stuff that we desire, that type
Yeah.
of thing, that simplicity. We don't want um, the, I guess that the greatest thing or the newest, whatever. That doesn't even make me excited anymore. You know what I mean? Like I don't even want that, and I can see that's just from I think becoming more quiet again, like, you know, as
Yes, the
we've
silent
listened to some of the
mind.
other things yeah, the chatter, the mind chatter. And that's something that I found. And that's something, you know, we were talking about like every day, like choosing into this higher timeline or high, you know, what we want to see, we're going to choose that today. You know, we don't have to wait for it, somebody else to deliver it, you know, and that's, and as we continue to put that out there, we are effectively changing that, you know, and
Well,
creating
and
that
the
for
thing
ourselves.
is, no one's gonna bring it. No one's going to
No,
bring
and
it to you,
mm-mm,
and what they do bring to you to satisfy you is gonna be
mm-hmm.
fake. You
Well,
know?
it's like thinking about that. Did you see a lot of people talking about like it was such, and it was interesting to see more in the collective, like, and I love it to see this. This is awakening in people. Like when that Netflix fight was on the other night with Jake Paul and
Oh, Mike Tyson?
and how all these people were watching it, and then they realized like how plugged into the matrix everybody was from watching that. But what a distraction that was, you know. And
Okay,
so,
well, that just came up in my field because I'm not involved in anything and I don't know, but I do go on X, which everybody follow us on X, and we have the
yes,
reality shifters on X as a community, just as like a landing place. But then we have our real community virtual that will be physical. I'm excited, but the realityshifters.com. So check it out and join.
there's a it's such good stuff there. And I say I see it coming into fruition. Like every day, everybody is connecting more. And it's like, and the more that everybody engages, they are building that true community. And I love
It
that
is. You can
it's
feel it.
becoming more that it's shifting as that vision, because we are, you know, that's what we all choose, you know, is that, and it's exciting. I think it's cool. So
Yes,
I
it's
think
definitely
everybody should do it,
shifting
you know.
as a true community. People that have decided to choose. So you would join. You would join the Reality Shifters. Is definitely it's a high level group. It's a group of futurists, people who are going to the future and realize that they have to take full self accountability and that they're sovereign and that they're in full control of the reality that they create. So by jumping on to the reality shifters, I created this course, the quantum transformation course, which is a course that you can take at any point. And
Mhm.
Allison just started taking it, but it took months to put it together. But that is the first course that you're going to take when you join the reality shifters. And then you have access to the entire community and two other courses, which is I'm going to actually improve those, add to them.
Mhm.
But we're going to be adding more and more courses, and essentially it's our Reality Shifter Academy, which I have had in my heart because that's what I do. Is I love to talk about this and teach it, and but I lived it before I'm teaching,
Mhm.
so I feel like that makes it even better.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so you're choosing it. We're wielding the energies. And oh, we were talking about Mike Tyson. So I saw a little bit about it on X, and I'm like, huh. Like I know every single thing that's being presented right now is to get people to choose real organic or tech,
Fake.
like
Right.
fake. You want to stay in the matrix because it's not going to be this way, you guys, where all of a sudden there's going to be a
There's
big
a
thing and you're going to be booped up.
Yeah, there's not.
There's
Yeah.
not. And I now know, and so we were talking offline about this, and I heard this yesterday from Honey Golden, who she's just somebody on YouTube, but she did a Rumble with somebody, and she was talking about this on Rumble. But basically talking about this, that these crystal cities that they're already here, and I already know they're here, and I've been talking to my group about this,
Hmm.
just in our normal conversations and I have a lot of crystals and I talk about crystals and I knew there's this crystal city and I've been wondering about it. Well, Honey Golden said that she went up to Sedona and she was at this experience where she's watching UFOs and
Mhm.
they told her that that basically there's going to be a crystal city just like plopped down and everybody will
Mm.
see it. Well, when I heard that information, I my eyes just like welled up. Like I was overwhelmed. I was taking a bath, which I'm always taking baths. That's what I do to ground. I was taking my nightly bath, but I was hot and all this, but I was just like crying. Like I'm like, it's here. It's here. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
So we're at the beginning of the rebuild, and it's not going to be this split. So all the different things, if you're following me on TikTok, I made a video to kind of talked about just a little background stuff that was going on with me and the 3D with ex-wives and stepdaughters and
Mhm.
so that, but that situation, I knew it wasn't going to come into the new earth. And when I was dealing with that, when I had the stepdaughter living here and there's all this drama and it was just like ugly here at our house because I'm trying to do all this, and I wasn't like how I am now. Uh,
Right.
so it was just like going through everything. But now I realized this was a split. This is just solidifying. So there's no more going back, and that's what we want to talk about. We're not going back and forth into the 3D
No.
and then back into the 5D anymore.
Well, and it's exhausting when you are trying to traverse both. And that,
Yeah.
again, like, you know, if we're living from that dark space, we're not going to want to, you know,
No,
go
you
because then
don't.
you're not
And it becomes intolerable, just like how you're getting sick when you go to the hospital. And then you're
Mhm.
sick for 2 days, and then like whatever. And then I don't know how often you're going, but
Right.
whenever you go, it's just like it sets you back, blah, blah, blah. But it's all because
Right.
your soul wants to keep on going. Your soul wants to keep on going, and
And
for whatever
right. And that's
it
why
needs to see
it's,
this. It needs,
mhm.
for whatever reason,
Mhm.
your soul, it's like battling it out with your ego. Your
Right.
ego
That's
that's
exactly what it
like,
is.
oh, but I need to go. I don't want to be irresponsible because I went through that for a long time. Because I always had like major jobs. And I would
Right.
sit
Yeah.
there and be working for a company, but the whole time I always kept my resume and LinkedIn going. And the minute I didn't feel good and started like feeling, that feeling where you just literally can't do it, I went and got another job. And all these people would say, what?
Mhm.
You can't do that. You need to build up, you need to stay at some place for, however long to show, so you don't
Right.
look like you're moving around.
Yeah.
And I thought for a long time, like, oh, I'd either quit jobs or I'd get fired from them. So, like, some of my sales jobs for these professional skincare companies, I got fired from one or two. I don't know.
Mhm.
Because I never could know, because the situation with me leaving kind of felt like I was firing them because
Right.
I wasn't like when I worked for these skincare companies on the East Coast. I went in there and they would have all this inventory of the product that I was repping, right? They would have all this
Mhm.
inventory that they weren't selling because nobody actually does their job and nobody actually tells, like, if you get a facial or you go get a treatment, how many times when you get your nails done or you go anywhere, the professionals, they don't even tell you
What they're
what
using. Yeah.
products you should do or take home with you or anything because they don't want to look like they're selling.
Right.
Because they were not doing, and this is all about what we're talking about, but it's not going with the heart space. They weren't doing the job with the
Exactly.
heart space. They were doing it with the mind of like, oh, I don't want to, I want money from this person, but I don't want them
And
to
then
know
it,
that.
and that's all, and that's where we've lost our, and that's corporate America's
Yes.
problem right there. And that's where, you think about how corporations used to have pensions and things for their people. And oh, that's like I tell people, it's lost its soul. And it is beautiful to watch it all start to crumble because
Oh,
those people, the ones that have done that and have enslaved us, collectively into these jobs where we sell our life force to them. That's the thing, and then we don't get anything back from that. And that's one thing I think I'll even talk more about with our podcast and even some of my own, individual stuff that we'll talk
Yeah.
about. It's like how that divorcing that part of me, and it's it's a virus, it's a something that I'm having, not so much, I'm not sad about it. It's just
No,
finding that and now
it's
putting
creating a
energy
void,
into that
creating this void.
and creating what I want. And that's the whole thing. I had to really get to that. What do you want? You know what I mean? And I'm like, and then for so long, like not saying no, and now I'm like learning to say no, to things and so now creating what I want, it's like, I'm not going to show up here. Like we were talking about, this helps us create, this adds to our community. This adds to, we know, to these things showing up in the reality that we want them to be, and that's how we're going to create it. And that's how whoever's listening, like we talk about, like, well, like, why are we doing this? Because we want everyone else knows they are a conscious creator of their world, as well, and
Yeah,
it's
we
not
want you to see.
that's truth. It's truth, and if I can tell you, because we've lived it, we see it, that's, it's like anything, you get people get super religious about their experiences about things. I'm almost not religious, but I am just as passionate about that. And now wanting that to be what I use to empower people through how to get healthy. Because that's really why I did what I do. I go to, and
Yeah.
I tell my husband, like, what kind of joke am I? But I go and work in a hospital for these people who like being sick for the most part.
Well,
Think
see,
about
that's like
it. And
it
I
was
don't want
crazy. I almost went to nursing school. Like you and I, that's how you and I are similar. But I took the other
right.
path. Like I was in aesthetics and kind of and I went to
You
Veda.
wanted to help people. And you help people in a different, yeah, it's like
But
same.
I knew, and I was raised, my mom and everything about I just constantly kept this garden in my heart, has always been,
Mhm.
hasn't been completely buried because I didn't drink alcohol. I didn't do all these things that created all these.
That's huge. And that's something too to talk about too later. I know, not to interrupt you, but like the whole thing too, like not adding in substances that, that they advertise on TV. Anything they advertise on there is going to lower you and put you into those
It's going to be
slots
doing
that they
all the
want you
frequencies, the materialism, the anxiety,
in. The
having to
meds.
define yourself by labels. Like, come on. That's so weird to want to say, hi, my name is blah, 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 and I am
Yeah,
ADHD, I am autistic, I am
I
this.
am. I am my job, or I am this. I am, instead of I am. That's,
I'm
and
a
that's
divine human being here to
a
hold the
divine
light
creator.
and love
Yeah,
animals. That's what I do.
exactly.
But it's
Yep.
like being excited about life, being excited about just living, and that's been
Which,
something I mean, every day, every day, you guys, we are waking up now. And so, like, Allison is feeling that. I'm still doing it too, but I'm just not, uh, I'm just a little bit more solid on it. That I don't now
mm-hmm,
I'm owning that this is my job. What I'm doing
mm-hmm,
is work, is value. But because I'm like, oh, but I don't have all this money. Oh, I lost all my followers, that
mm,
solidified that I was something, right? Um,
right, right.
I'm saying that's the matrix talking. But then, like I had
Mm-hmm,
said, I'd said out loud, oh, I want to be everywhere. I want people to see me because I want this information to get out there. Well, guess what? I am everywhere. Now they
mm-hmm.
made a clone of me because they made a clone of me, tons of clones of me, and made all these fake videos and make it look like I'm a scammer.
Right. Oh, I know. Which is, yeah.
So it's like, I had this voice that's like, well, you're everywhere, Monica. You're everywhere. I'm everywhere, but I'm nowhere.
Right. And yeah.
And I've realized, though, that all this has been done to me to get me, so to stop us, to stop me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my character has been completely assassinated, like ruined. Like people from Washington, they think I'm freaking, I don't even know what they think.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
They told me the people from my church, you know, the people that supposedly, like, after I got my divorce, some of these people, they just couldn't wait to get the dish, you know, on what I'm doing and trying to keep up with it. And now they think I've gone off and I'm some, I don't know if they think I'm scamming people or they think I'm a new ager and some lunatic. And
Right,
I've
right.
had to hold all that. No, I'm like, it's not true. I know it's not true. And I would like
Well,
not go online for a while, but I kept through.
right. Yeah, it's like almost like trying to stop you from doing that, and you could have chose that. A lot of people would
And
have,
nobody would have
you know.
blamed me. Everybody, I mean, I have so many messages from people that they're like, thank you, Monica, for persevering, you know, or they're like, oh, is when I heard a video from you when I was in my darkest moment, and
Mm,
your video came, and then it's like literally gave me hope. And just thinking about that, about like continuing to go forward, like I'm doing this where I'm out here, but you have your own thing in your life that you want to do and that you're supposed
mhm,
to do and that you need to go forward. And you keep on not going forward and you keep on choosing the matrix lies, then that makes you feel bad about yourself.
mhm.
And time goes by, and some of you guys might be at this where it's like, oh my God, like here we are coming up to another year. You know, people
Mhm.
make their New Year's resolutions and they're sitting there feeling like they haven't moved the needle in, they haven't been authentic to their own self.
Mm,
It's not about being authentic on a TikTok video because the majority of people don't make those, right? It's about being
right.
authentic to yourself when it's not been that long. It takes a long time, but now the energies are here that you can look yourself in the mirror and know that you are living for you and living for your true authenticity and that you're not hiding. You're not hiding behind
Mm,
your job, you're not hiding behind your marriage, you're not hiding behind your kids
right.
because
Yeah.
you're afraid of getting to that point of peace that you claim that you want, but you're putting all these things in your life so you have drama.
Right. And every time we choose into that drama, we reaffirm that,
Yeah,
and
you're just
that's,
on that hamster
yeah.
wheel. So, okay, fine, you're creating it. That's why it's like I hesitated even, or I don't talk too much about, you know, kind of like the negative timeline stuff that was
Mhm.
going on
Right.
around me. Uh, but I'm always talking about it though, because I'm now, it's like, bring it on, bring anything on. Like they keep on bringing stuff to me, bringing stuff to me. And then I
Right.
just keep on going, just keep
Well, it's
on
like
going.
it's like, again, like just transforming that. We can take anything and just,
And
and
how
that's
many
where we're going to become
people,
the true alchemists of our lives, is whatever comes in our way and realizing we've created that. And, oh, and let me transmute this into something different,
and
and
that's so fun.
that's where, yeah. And that's where you live in that quantum, so I know sometimes
Mhm.
people use that, but no, that's truly like when you live in the realm of possibilities instead of the realm of has-beens, and then reaffirming that has-been cycle, that's, the true, where that true power lies and where we can really, create the world that we want, and that's what
Yeah, and
that's,
not in just a trite way. Like, I don't want people to hear
no,
this,
it's not,
and I don't
this
want you
isn't
to
like,
listen to this and just put it down and go to your next podcast. I
uh,
want you to really realize this, that it is amazing information that has been hidden from us, but you can literally wield the life you want. I am living a life.
like
It's like
yeah,
unbelievable. 5 years
I can imagine.
ago,
garden.
5 years ago, we're sitting, no, 6 years ago, I don't know, whatever, years ago. Let's just say 7 years ago, I was married. I've been married to Derek for 9 years, but 7 years ago, we were sitting in Woodinville, ordering our Zeke's pizza, watching 90 Day Fiance,
Right.
talking about like, oh, why aren't you doing this? And trying to get jobs, figuring out how we're going to do this, planning a vacation. But it's
Isn't that
always,
crazy to think? Yeah.
yeah. And it was like, oh, we're out of eggs. Oh, let's go to eggs. Oh, got a bitch about the price of eggs. You want organic eggs. I don't believe in organics.
Right.
Like all this was going on. And I'm like sitting here now. It's like Derek never, ever, like I've stopped him sometimes. I stop him in the middle of the day. I'm like, would you ever have
Yeah.
thought that, because he's out there, I mean, it's so adorable. He's out there with this little basket collecting the duck eggs and the
Right.
chicken eggs. He's bringing them in. He's going out to the garden and getting all the greens and getting excited about certain greens that he knows that I love and that Willow loves, the bunny, the Flemish.
Right. Right.
And he's like giving him the carrots. And it's like, this is our life. Like, we're excited to see our bunnies eating carrots.
Right.
And
And think of how much like that joy from that more so than the what was happening on that synthetic 90 Day Fiance and the pizza that had chemicals in it. How much
well, yeah, and
more
Derek
joy
was
you're
a
finding.
hundred pounds. I mean, Derek has lost, I don't know since he met me, but at least 100 pounds.
And isn't that crazy to think how like and that's again like so much of that. It's interesting. And that's when you're in eating the food that they push on us, you know what I mean? And the chemicals and the garbage and the fast food. I mean, it's like even if I wanted to eat it now, I don't think I could. It's not because I'm saying that because I'm so much better. No, it literally would make me sick now because we don't
Oh, yeah.
once you eating it, it's like you can't. It's like I don't know if you've ever done that where you tried eating something like that and then it's just it's almost like when you and I know you haven't drank, but like when people drink and they like go out for like a week, they don't normally drink, then you like go have a couple drinks and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that again. It's like that,
Yeah.
and that could be that
Well,
way
I
with our,
I remember with fast food because I haven't eaten fast food regularly for 20 years, but I was,
I can tell you it's not even any good. It's terrible now, especially
well,
like
now knowing about the meat, my God.
oh yeah. Well, and it's just garbage anyway, but they like literally they have made it where it doesn't even taste like it used to at least taste good, even though it's terrible for you. Now it doesn't even taste.
Yeah,
Do you know
like
what I mean?
Panera? Okay, I used to love going to
Yeah.
Panera. When Panera first opened up, before, because there was this time, let's try to figure out when it is. And audience, let us know in the comments. When was this that there was a time? So I'm from Washington, Pacific Northwest, like Portland, Oregon, Washington, Seattle, like that whole vibe.
Right, right.
There is a restaurant, and I don't know if they have it in Arizona, but I think they're called Red Robin.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Red Robin was so freaking good, like in the
It
90s.
used to be really good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when my son, who was born in 1999,
That's what I was gonna say right around 98, 99. That I
yeah,
remember all that. Yeah.
he was 4 years old, and we went to Red Robin for his birthday, and which sounds so weird now, right? But we went to go to
Right.
Red Robin for his birthday to see the Red Robin, to see the bird, and he wasn't there that day. And the Red Robin got in from Everett. We lived in Lake Stevens, and this is in Everett, Washington. So this is about 30 minutes, 40 minutes away. The Red Robin, this is how much things have changed too. In what I'm showing you is that the Red Robin, the manager found out that we came there for the 4 year old, and Daniel was so adorable. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, they sent the Red Robin dressed, the character
Mhm.
in a white pickup truck in the back of a pickup truck with full meals for all of us,
Oh wow.
balloons. The bird came to my home, to
Oh
my
wow.
home.
Yeah.
I have pictures of it somewhere. I have to pull them up. So, and the food was so good. The service, they cared about people. Like you're saying, they cared about
Right.
people. They like went the extra mile. They were happy to see you. Panera was like that too. Then
Right.
something changed around, what is it? I don't know. Like, what do I want to say?
I
2010,
Yeah, I was gonna say right around
2015.
2008, 10, somewhere around there. Yeah.
It really started changing though, I think around, because around 2015, 2016, like around in this last 10 years, there was like this shift where all the food became super chemical processed.
Yeah, it
All
really
the
did.
restaurants, it wasn't like there's a Red Robin, oh, they have good burgers here, oh, they have this burgers here. No, they were all ordering the same from the restaurant supply house, the same chemical
Mhm.
foods from the same corporations, right?
Yep.
This whole
Yep.
corporate thing. And that's how it's connected with the medical thing.
Right. Oh yeah, it's all. Yep. When you start looking at it.
No, they like
Right.
literally did this. All
Oh,
the
I know they are.
restaurants, all the fast food, all the corporations got together. Okay, we're gonna give them the food, and then this is gonna gradually make them sick. And then, oh, okay, that sounds good. And then you're gonna
You give
you're
them the
gonna make the
solution. Yeah.
medication that's not
Yeah.
going to actually get them better, but it's going to actually make them more addicted to the food that I'm making. Okay, so that's how
So
I'm going
it's
to keep you going. And then, see, and then there's
right.
somebody that's like, oh, and then when things start getting kind of ugly, you know, and people start looking ugly, we'll start promoting plastic surgery, and
Right.
we'll start promoting a distorted view of what you do when you're not feeling right. You cut yourself, you take drugs, you
Right. Oh yeah. All
disassociate
the
yourself.
right. And then you make your mental illness your personality.
Your
Yeah.
badge, your
Yeah. Your
identity.
badge that
Yeah.
hmm
Your mental illness. I mean, my kids, my adult kids that are 28 and 25, they tried to tell me, that, Mom, I think you're ADHD. Like, I think you're ADD. Like, they tried to say that and they wanted to put this label. This was like in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018,
right,
whatever.
right.
And I was just like, what are you talking about? But I didn't know. Now I see it all. This was all a big plan.
Right, right,
You know, you get on, you say that you're ADHD, and then they put all those kids and adults, I put on Ritalin, which is basically legal meth,
right.
okay, and causes all these problems long term for the brain. It's a huge, huge mess. But the good thing is, and this is the thing that everybody needs to hold on to, is that we're in the new frequency now. No
hmm
matter what, and Allison is a perfect example of this because she's still kind of getting out of things. You know, I'm gonna get her to finally be done, but no, she
Getting
knows.
there.
But it's like we don't have to. It doesn't, like, I've been doing this for years. I've had the luxury of just gradually going through this, but there was a period of time in 21, 22, you know, I basically went dark and was trying to figure all this stuff out.
Right.
But what's so great is you could just go forward with the information and what you want to do, each
hmm
little thing, each little thing that you decide. Like, I'm always talking about my seeds, but I was buying seeds to get ready for this time. I was buying seeds 10 years ago, just whenever I'd go somewhere. And then
Right. Yeah.
as I got more, and then I, got to know people, and they made their own seeds, and they had these, like, getting into the heritage seeds and all of this. And I just love it.
Yeah.
When I first met Derek at 8 weeks, we'd known each other for 8 weeks. We went to Paris together, and I went and I bought herbs and seeds. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, well, you can't get these herbs in America. Like, I bought all the culinary herbs and like all of them.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And he's just like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "No, you don't understand." I'm like, "I'm gonna have this garden and I'm doing this whole thing. Like, I'm gonna live where I grow. I'm gonna live like this." And I was like telling him it, but when I was telling him it, I still had, like, I didn't know that it was like this.
Mhm.
But it's just showing you that but right now, you don't have to go through years.
Right.
You don't have
No.
to just buy the seeds. You can go and say, "I'm doing it," and build the greenhouse, which people in our group have done it. I love it.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, get the greenhouse, move where you want to move to. Plant the seeds. Plant the seeds, and they are now blooming and growing.
And choosing those things that will move you towards that, kind of like you said, like with whether it's planting seeds or whatever, not choosing to eat out, like every one of those little choices, accumulate into who you become,
Yeah.
and every time you make that higher choice, you're talking the other last time about the upgrades, can be your upgrade,
Yes. So
today.
even things like, okay, here's an upgrade, because Allison loves this whole upgrade concept, which is what I
Yes.
basically, how I've done this is by upgrading each thing that I do to its best version, not doing it. Just like with my hair.
Uh-huh.
I want to wear hair extensions. For the longest time, I'm like, oh, you can't wear hair extensions. You need to be your real self, or you can't wear this, or you need to have your hair this color, or you need to do this. Well, now it's like you get to do. There is no rule. It's like, what do you want to create? Like I got
Right.
rainbow hair extensions, which I'm going to be putting in. I can't wait. These
Fun.
like clip-in ones, but this pink stuff, and it's like, be your wild self, be your true self. But the thing is, like with something like strawberries, buying food, knowing that every single thing that you do is like layering frequencies toward
Mm-hmm.
your ultimate frequency, which is whatever. And you're never getting there. You're just
You're just
making
building on it. It's
making
like
it more
building that,
beautiful. Yeah.
creating. Mm-hmm.
I mean, even since we decided to do this podcast, so many more things have been like solidified for you and
Like
for me, and like,
opening up it's again like just stepping into the unknown. It's like anything, you got to
yeah.
just do
And it's affecting other people
it.
too.
That's exciting. That's the cool part, is that it's
Yeah,
doing why we wanted to do this. We're
exactly.
gonna
And every one of our decisions, everyone, even like, okay, yesterday Derek was like, do you want something to eat? Nat wants Mexican, and so I'm gonna go get her. She wants this queso all the time. Like, and I didn't say anything, but he thought that meant that I didn't want Mexican because yesterday I had eaten Mexican. I had
mm,
eaten one taco, like a street taco. Yes, that's all I'd eaten is the day before. But he had my silence that I didn't want Mexican. And so he
mm,
went and bought me something else that I'd already said that I don't want to eat anymore because they
right.
put it in styrofoam.
Oh, right.
They put the food in styrofoam. I can tell by tasting the food that it's not good. You know what I'm talking, like we were talking about earlier? It's like everything has changed. And so, but he's still in that frequency of like, well, we need to eat, or I want to eat. Like, but I was like, but I don't want to eat this. Like he's
Right.
like,
Well,
well, do you want cantaloupe? I go, I really want some strawberries and watermelons. I'm like, I miss spring and summer. And he's like, oh, well, I bought cantaloupe and I bought strawberries. And I'm like, they don't have they're not, I'm not eating those.
yeah.
And he's like, well, Nat's eating them. And I go, well, good for her. She
Right.
wants to
Yeah.
eat them. I go, but they're not in season, and they
Yeah.
don't taste like, they're not high frequency enough.
Well, you remember when things actually used to be sold seasonally, because
Yeah.
and then now we have things that are, it's synthetic. And the strawberries now don't even taste like
No.
they did. I mean, it's like everything tastes off if you buy it. It's like, and then it's like you
Yeah.
don't even
So that's
care.
why I'm saying, like he's like, oh, you're eating, like it's changing the vibration. It changes the vibration to go along with the program thing of like, oh, I want strawberries. Well, I want strawberries, but I'm not going to lower my vibration by eating, just talking about it, looking at the strawberries in the plastic box
Right?
and seeing them and seeing the moldy ones in there that we just
Let's say
paid
they all mold. They're all mold.
16.99 for this
Yeah.
thing at Costco, which I can't stand Costco. They changed all they I can't. They
It
changed
used to be
all their food. They used to be so good. They made
good.
everything
Yeah,
in-house. It's just like the Red Robin story. They
they
changed
did. Yeah.
all
They
their in-store stuff, and
they became they became too big again. It's like
I
anything. They
call them
became
communist Costco.
like corporations in general. Like when they
They sold
all,
out. They
it's like
sold out to the
when
government plan.
Well, it's like there used to be a another restaurant like that around here that was local. And I remember I did a focus group years ago about this, and I was like, "You're going to turn corporate," and it changed the food, and it did. And I don't even they still are kind of local, but you can tell when they go from that to buying it from Conagra Foods or from whoever, or they have Tyson chicken, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff. You can see
Yeah, like Whole
the
Foods.
chicken
Whole
differently.
Foods.
Oh, when it became part of Amazon. Yeah.
Well, I knew there was something up with Whole Foods, and I'm like, and there was also something up with the dinner. You know when they had the dinner, Healthy Fresh, the dinner, like you
Oh, those, yeah. You'd
remember
order them. Yeah. They would send them to
the
you.
dinner
Yeah.
kit? Are
Hmm.
people still doing those?
Yeah, but they're not, yeah, a little bit. They're not the craze anymore. I think they were big
Okay.
for a little while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know why I think, and I know this to be true, that this has to be, and I'd love for people to think about it. And what do you think? So HelloFresh was out, and I was, I got in on when they very first came out. They sent like organic vegetables,
Yeah.
like
Everything was good. Yeah.
it was really nice. Whole Foods came out, and then and this is all in Washington, but HelloFresh was out, and then HelloFresh started getting real like corporate-y looking.
What's weird is you notice in some of those, because I bought some of those, like, and even like they come with stuff from like corporations now in the
Yes.
package. It's like not, they used to have their own, it would be their own brand. And now
Yeah.
it's like you get
So
the
they
Daisy bread
merged.
sour cream, and then you get the packaged chicken that's got, whatever on it.
Yeah. So
And
it's
it's
getting you
slimy.
into eating that chicken that's not even real chicken. It's all pumped with this material. Whatever. I was like, you know what? They're getting us ready where they're going to be shipping these food. They're getting us psychologically ready.
Oh, in our mind to get used to having food delivered like a ration. So,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like
You can
anything. Like
see
they,
it. You picked it
yeah.
up without me even saying it, and you can see that that's what they were doing.
Well, that was all part of that strategy that I mean, if we really want, I mean, we could go, that's a whole other rabbit hole, another, thank goodness that some of that shifted, because that's part from, oh, we can go back to what happened in 2008. We can just kind of read between the lines of knowing what administrations and things were in place and what their
Yeah.
plans were.
Well, that's when
Yeah.
I stopped listening to, because I've always had my pulse on what's going on with the players, and I stopped listening in 2008 because I couldn't handle it, and I was getting like, oh my God, we're coming down to what some people think that we're going into it, the FEMA camps and the Armageddon timeline, but me and other people seeing, don't you think it's wild that I was able to see 10 years ago or whenever it was HelloFresh? I found out, I researched the company. They were bought by George Soros. HelloFresh is
Oh,
bought by George Soros. It's like a whole thing. It's a whole thing to connect, to get everybody sick, to get everybody in their homes. They did the lockdowns in 2020, but everybody was used to getting their meals, so it was fine. They're like, I don't care. I don't need to go to the
oh, and I
grocery
love
store.
the other thing too. People, I mean, it's like more people just need to be aware too of like the fallout from that. Of everybody, they kept the, bars or whatever you could get get
That was
alcohol.
outrageous. Yeah, and people still didn't see it at the time. Like, oh, the liquor stores are open, you guys?
But the gym can't be. Yeah.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
gym or whatever can't be, and you're not allowed to talk to your people. Well, I never went through any kind of lockdown because we decided well, I shouldn't say that because I really was, but I didn't, I'd already quit my job
Hmm.
as a practice manager, and I was in Issaquah. I quit my job. Like, it's like I was getting prepped for this. So I didn't have to go through that thing, but I did make that decision to leave Washington. And my husband had a job where he was opening up an office in Seattle, and we left for South Carolina without telling that job.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
You're like,
because I was like, I'm leaving. I'm taking that out of here.
right.
So all of the people that did that, that said, I'm not shopping at Whole Foods anymore. I'm not getting these meal kits anymore. That's how we're able to change this timeline to get us to this that we're at now.
Exactly. Yeah. There's choices of
Every individual choice. So I'm telling you guys, every choice you make. When you walk to your mailbox, if you decide to glare at your neighbor or you decide to bring them their paper and you know they're sick or something like that, you're changing their timeline and you're
Hmm.
changing your timeline. I change my timeline for the better every time I decide to act out of love instead of out of the matrix thoughts that might still, which thankfully I'm really, really, really happy that I'm not feeling like I'm struggling so much, with like
Right.
feeling angry or feeling confused or whatever. I'm just like, no, people are doing what they're doing, and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And then we'll all connect frequencies when we connect.
Right.
But I know that my group, anybody who is in the group and that is connected with me, they're all knowing it too, that this is something like it's so special and so amazing that it's like we're all just like we almost like don't want to talk about it because it's just like, really?
Right. Right.
Do you feel that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, it's like you can see how each has that ripple, effect of those things. And then enough that, well, it's kind of exciting to see more people being aware of that or even questioning, and that's one thing that's um, pretty neat to see because at least and then we are given that chance to even choose, right now, which is exciting to even
Yeah.
shift into,
You get
which,
a chance to choose and you can get out of the polarity because in the 5D, which is a state
mhm,
of mind, a state of consciousness that creates, which is what we're doing right now. This is the most important thing. We're creating. We're creators now. We've left
yeah,
being consumers. You're a consumer in the 3D, and everything in your life, from the moment your eyes opened in the morning, it was about consuming something
mhm, right.
or
And then also,
getting
yeah.
the ability to consume.
Mhm.
Everything was about that. Every fight you had with your family members, every nasty thing that's happened to you when you've gotten in a car wreck, anything that's happened, the only reason you're upset about it has always been because it will limit your ability to consume.
Crazy, isn't that?
Yeah. And then when you take off that consumption programming, you're left with this void that you then have this whole big void to fill it up with. And so I have filled it up with because now no longer when I'm just sitting here, which I never am now because I have so many things to do. Do you like that song I sent you? Did you
Mhm.
listen to it? How he's like, I can't wake up to get up and try, just to try something new. And it's like that's how I feel every day. It's like, ooh, I get chills. Like, woo, what is the divine going to create through me today?
Yeah.
What's going to happen instead of like, oh, I guess I'll go on Sephora or I'll go on Amazon and buy some junk, you know?
Mhm.
It's like I have every single thing I need. If everything goes, where we're going to go through it, we are going to go through it for the next couple of years, 2, 3 years, in terms of just identifying what we don't want and implementing what we do want.
Exactly. And that's going to be more of like what and pulling though and choosing those things into
Curating.
existence rather than expecting it just to we choosing it's an active process of choosing
That's
that. It's
the
like
whole bingo that I want for the
right,
whole entire
choosing
podcast and every single
right.
podcast that we do. That I say, I want you guys to wake up to this. No one's coming. No one's coming. No one's coming. And not that, but the energies are here
To support you. That's the
to
thing. It's here.
support it. So now, and I'm saying this, and Allison is saying this from a point of actually doing it, feeling all the feels, feeling the insecurities, feeling the self doubt. Even yesterday, I was saying because I got myself into lower frequency
Mhm.
consciousness with other beings,
Mhm.
but I consciously knew I was doing it. So I was in full control. But I had voices that were like, I was going to go create my book yesterday, my manuscript, and like do all this stuff. And I've got my cookbook that I'm doing. And I was going to go I was talking to Allison actually at like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. about all this and sending her all the AI stuff I was finding, and I had all this stuff going. But then I woke up, I decided to ask about something. It got me into this lower timeline and this,
Well, that's true.
yeah.
Yep.
And then I sat there, I sat on my couch, I cried for a couple minutes.
I was going to say, wait, we kind of both were in that. It's funny. Like, I want
The
people to realize,
weather
like, that's
was like
what
that.
we
You
think.
saw the weather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
Monica, the other Monica in our group. She's in
Mhm.
Washington and she's dealing with a big storm, and it's like everything was
Mhm.
reflecting this thing that we started off talking about, that we're done with the old world now. And so energy doesn't go away. It's transmuting.
Yes.
It's transmuting, and as these energies are leaving, they are going to try and get you to think, what are you
Hmm.
doing? You're not doing anything. You're staying home. You're not recording. You're doing nothing.
Nobody wants. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want. Yeah.
That's what it
And
was
that's
going
the thing.
on yesterday. And I was like,
Mhm.
no, 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 no. But I was kind of like letting it, and I didn't have my spark to get on. And I was like, I started thinking that everything that I created, like, I'm like, it's nothing. I'm really not doing anything. I don't really have anything. It's not enough. I can't go and interview. I can't call anybody. They're going to think this. What am I thinking? I'm going to tell Allison that I don't know what we were thinking. I'm serious. Like, I
Oh,
did
yeah.
that for like 10 minutes yesterday.
And
And
then
then
you're like,
I was like, nope. And I go on my vibration plate, I turn my red light therapy on, because that gets
mhm.
you that's like a fast track to
That's
move
true.
the
Yeah.
energy.
There's, yep, that. Yep.
And then
And
I did
then
my
what are you putting
thing, and I did
in
my
again and realize,
tea,
right?
and I was like, okay, I'm back. So it took me 5 minutes. But I could have, you guys, wallowed in it.
Or you can fin, and that's the thing of seeing like we're, you know, getting out of it, choosing out of it,
We're
and then some
in it.
things, and then you're going to get out of it. And that's what's temporary is that human, that feelings. And we are not our feelings. And then we have to realize feelings are temporary, embrace it and move on. You know what I mean? Like that. And you don't have to be Pollyanna about it. You know what I mean? Like it's true. It's real. Feelings are real. You felt that. I mean, it's like, but no. And then you realize it's not. You're going to stay in this. This isn't part of that.
It's like
That's
the
whole.
feelings. But separating thoughts from feelings, though, that's like a
Right. Yeah.
little thing, because like I felt, well, I had those thoughts, but I know those thoughts aren't mine,
Mm-hmm.
because when I'm in my true essence, you see how I am. I don't talk like that.
And that's, and being aware of that too, you
Yeah,
know.
well, I'm like sitting outside of myself, and these thoughts are around me, and I'm able to look at those thoughts and say, absolutely not. It's not true. I
We're
need
like
to
weird.
change my
No.
frequency, because I let these lower frequencies into me. I'm consciously emailing right now somebody that's bringing me down. Okay.
Right. And then
But
realizing that.
I'm going to put it in a container, that this is what it is. It doesn't define me. It doesn't mean that my show isn't good. It doesn't mean I'm not good, and move on. And I did. And then it was like, I was up till 2, 3 in the morning last night, being all excited. And then this morning we're like, hey, so here we are. So we will end for today's podcast,
Yep.
and because
Good amount of
we
time.
could talk literally, and that's why we're doing this. So we want to be here for everybody, whether you're a man or a woman. This information is for everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
we are going to continue to bring you guys the topics that are on your hearts and that are on our hearts. But we are going to be, this is going to be a conversation to be had, not for somebody who wants all the answers given to them and all of everything kind of laid out in a platter. This is for, we're going to reveal how we're going through this, and reveal how, if you will just walk towards the higher energies, even if at the time you're like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Scares the heck out of you,
That's
right?
gonna
Or you don't see
offend somebody, or oh, I might get fired or whatever. Trust that if you get fired, or trust if that person gets offended, that they're not for you.
it. And that's again like that sovereign thing again of like we want to get back. We don't want that old program. Remember, we're finding our joy, finding what makes us excited from that, and this
Yeah,
is that. This love. This is like even Matt said, like when he watched this, he's like, I can see it. You two love this, and that's the
no,
thing. If when you've got your, what I mean, like you love it. I get goosebumps. Like I love it. This is
yeah.
what. This is where,
We're
and that's
loving
why we talk.
life and living life instead of sitting on the outside trying to figure out when we can join it. Am I
Yeah,
allowed?
exactly.
Am I
Well,
allowed
that's
to
the
play?
whole like realizing that everybody can play.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's
You
like
were picked last on the team. If you were always picked last on
we're
the
not
team,
right. Yep,
guess what?
not
Guess what?
everyone picked.
You don't have to be picked. You can create your own game and play it full bore. And all the people that need to be on a team and need to be validated by being picked first, they are all going through this too. They're all going through this too. And it's never too late. You don't have to take years. You don't have to feel like it's too late to get started. So I'd love for you, please comment below if you got anything from this, what you're feeling. Are you feeling like you're solidly in the new earth, or are
Yeah, what are
you,
they? What is Howard? Yeah, say how did that? What does that show up for? What challenges or
yeah,
you know?
like what challenges are you finding? And I know that whole wobbly kind of, it's like sea legs, where you're leaving some stuff, whether it's like when I left my marriage of 20 years. I had to get my sea legs. What? When I left my job, I didn't just leave my job. I left the decision to work in the corporate, to work in the matrix. That was huge. And I went back a year and a half. I was like, oh, Derek, you think I'm a loser? I gotta go back. No. So now I'm solidly in the thing of like, no, no, no. Like you're a creator and all this has been training for you. And so we're just going to go forward in that and create and create. And if you guys want to be involved in this, we would love to have other people as you're awakening. We want to hear your stories. We're going to be having lots of guests on here and just regular people, regular men
Yeah,
and
no,
women that have woken up and how they've gone through the process, and like questions you might have for us. We can do this all live. And you can be on this podcast too.
I was
So
just saying who's going to be daring and do it, right? That's the
yeah,
thing, right? So
yeah. Let's see how many of you, because I know there's some of you guys that are like, ooh, I want to talk with them, but you
right,
feel nervous. But don't feel nervous because we love it. And you can get a hold of both of us. I'm gonna get our contact information and get all this. Like we need to get things a little bit more,
getting it.
you know,
It's coming together. We're learning. How's that?
yeah,
It's
it's all
again.
coming together, but as I'm coming together and learning. And also, I'm putting my priority in getting this information out to you guys and not having a perfect thing like, oh, I need to do a launch and I need to do this. It's like, okay, I've done my launch. I spent 3 years and now people know that I exist. So now we have the podcast and it's listed on my YouTube um, under podcast. And then we have it on Spotify. And I'll give my email monica@rawwithpeace.com. But if you guys want to get a hold of us, all the stuff is there. The realityshifters.com. That's where we're literally, it's like, I feel like already I'm like, we need to get in there and say hi to
Right.
everybody. But that is cooking and going. And if you want to know where all the higher vibe people are,
That's yep.
this is where it is. And it literally is not, I'm not seeing another group yet that is doing this, that is really truly this high vibe. They're literally sitting there still talking about all the sad stuff, and it's like, no, 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 no. So okay, like I said, see, we could talk forever. So we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back in a couple days.
Mhm.
We're still getting our schedule, but we're doing regular podcasts, and I'm going to record too. And I think Allison
Mhm.
can record single podcasts too. But I'm still going to be recording. I still have my TikTok that I do
Mhm.
and all of my stuff that I'm doing. And the podcast is just another way
Layer of it.
to anchor what.
It's another type of dialogue. So it's different than even the individual or just even your own, it's puts a,
Yeah.
I guess we want a collective, that whole thing, putting that,
Yeah.
that's
And everybody loves listening to podcasts, and it's a great way to take us along with you on your car trips. And you guys have
exactly
all told me, I love just listening to you. And I'm like, okay, good, because I love to talk.
right. Exactly.
Okay. Well, thanks, you guys. And we will be talking to you soon on the next episode. But there's plenty of episodes to listen to and get caught up on. But we will see you next time. Take care.
Sounds good.